From Vermont Public, this is The Frequency. I'm Aaliyah Papes, sitting in for Mitch Wertlieb. It's Tuesday, August 5th, and here are today's headlines. Vermont has given the Trump administration the sensitive personal data of all residents receiving Federal Nutrition Assistance Benefits, or SNAP, and food security advocates are not happy about it. Honora Horton with Hunger Free Vermont says her organization strongly disagrees with the state's decision to hand over the data.
We have no idea what the Trump administration wants this data for, what they intend to do with it.
Attorneys general in 20 states filed a lawsuit last week that seeks to block the administration from getting the data. But state officials in Vermont say the federal government has the legal authority to access the names, addresses, and Social Security numbers of people receiving SNAP benefits. Vermont officials issued an air quality alert Tuesday for pollution from wildfire smoke. The National Weather Service says very fine smoke particles are largely to blame. Tuesday's alert is code orange. That means older people, people with asthma, people with heart disease, people who are pregnant, and small children should shorten outdoor activities or make them less intense. Robert Haynes is a meteorologist with the National Weather Service in Burlington.
Keep an eye on how you're doing. If you're starting to notice while you're outside that you're starting to cough, feel free to take frequent breaks. It's important to not put yourself under too much strain and stress.
Haynes says wildfires burning in central and western Canada are to blame. Climate change is making the conditions that lead to large wildfires like these more common. The state is launching a new program to encourage more Canadians to travel to Vermont. It's partnering with local businesses to offer discounts and deals specifically for Canadian citizens. Canadian border crossings to Vermont in the first 5 months of this year were down more than 20% compared to last year. Many Canadians have called to boycott the U.S. due to the Trump administration's rhetoric and actions towards the country. Others are opting out for financial reasons. Heather Pelham is commissioner of Vermont's Department of Tourism and Marketing.
But there are Canadians who still are willing to travel. Part of this is to make sure that they feel welcome so that they know how much we value them, and not just as, patrons to our businesses, but just as neighbors.
Pelham says the department will officially roll out the program within the next couple weeks. Hartford High School will lose access to 12 classrooms this fall due to toxic contamination. The Valley News reports that the closures are the latest impact of chemicals known as PCBs on Hartford School District facilities. Last summer, the district was forced to close space at the Hartford Area Career and Technology Center after the chemicals were detected there. The new closures follow air quality testing completed in June, which revealed high levels of PCBs in 2 classrooms and a locker room space that is part of the gym, the Valley News reports. School officials say all educational opportunities, sports, and extracurricular activities will continue at the high school. Coming up, the federal defender's budget ran out last month, which could mean some criminal defense lawyers in Vermont might not get paid for months. Vermont Public's Michaela Lafrac has more about the funding shortfall. Criminal defense lawyers could go months without getting paid. The federal defender's budget ran out in July, and the coffers won't be refilled until the fall. It's sparked a concern in the judiciary that defendants in federal criminal cases could be left without representation, including in Vermont. Michael Desatel is the federal public defender for the District of Vermont. He's served in the role since 2006. He spoke with Vermont Edition's Michaela Lafrac about the funding shortfall.
Private defense lawyers will agree to represent somebody in a federal criminal case, and it's those folks who are not getting paid.
That is correct, yep.
And are defense lawyers still working despite not getting paid?
Generally, the answer is yes. You can imagine that if a case started 6 months ago and 2 weeks ago, the lawyer was told that, hey, you're not going to get paid until October 1 at a minimum. The question arises, so do I just stop the work, or do I keep on going and get paid only after October 1 if in fact there is money then? That's one sort of branch of the question. The other branch is what happens if there's a new case today? I mean, there are new cases that are starting in the federal court in Vermont today where people just charged are going to show up and not have the means to pay lawyers. And so these private attorneys may get called by a court And they have to decide, this is branch two of the question, do they want to take on a case when they know that they're not going to get paid and they're not going to be able to get an investigator paid or an expert witness if they need until at least October 1, if not later than that.
Does the executive branch have any impact on this issue?
It's a really good question. I mean, technically and most directly, no. And because that money comes trickling down through the judiciary's budget, so the federal court system. However, the Congress is the one that funds the budget for the judiciary. And if there happens to be a particular executive in office who puts pressure on certain Congress folks to not fund the judiciary, that could happen. They could simply say, as they've already said, they being the House, and looks to be the same with the Senate coming up, they could simply say, we're going to cut drastically the federal judiciary budget, which then by implication means cutting drastically the criminal defense budget too.
And one thing I think it's important to highlight too is that this doesn't just impact private attorneys. It also affects the people that they pay to be part of those cases, like investigators and expert witnesses, translators. Do I have that right?
You certainly do. And it's near impossible, and it is impossible to properly defend somebody in this day and age with the complexity of federal criminal law with just some solo lawyer doing a job on her or his own. You need all those different other pieces to the defense that you're mentioning, and those all get approved by a federal judge, but get paid through the same pool of money.
And could you talk a bit more, Michael, about why a private attorney would take one of these cases on? I was looking at the U.S. Courts website ahead of this interview and read that these attorneys, known as panel attorneys, are paid $175 an hour in non-capital cases and $223 in capital cases, which is significantly lower than the market rate.
I think the short answer is they really like to do it. Some do it in what they consider and talk about it being a service to the court. I mean, there are some that would do it whether it's a service or not. They just really, really love this type of work, and they believe in representing people that are indigent who are going to otherwise get potentially steamrolled by a federal government prosecutor.
And thanks for listening to The Frequency today. We had additional reporting from Pete Hirschfeld, Abigail Giles, Adia Golston, and Mark Davis. Today's episode was edited by Stephanie Colombini. And our music is by Blue Dot Sessions. I'm Aaliyah Papes. Talk to you tomorrow.
These days, there's so much news, it can be hard to keep up with what it all means for you, your family, and your community. The Consider This podcast from NPR features our award-winning journalism. 6 days a week, we bring you a deep dive on a news story and provide the context and analysis that helps you make sense of the news. We get behind the headlines. We get to the truth. Listen to the Consider This podcast from NPR.